What's up, guys? We are back again. Cressida things. Adam went and got some new tyres, actually tyres that I sold him, put on his wheels and actually balanced. So I don't know if you remember, but the video where we actually took this down to Sam to get the new ECU wired in, when we tied it on the trailer, all of the wheel weights pretty much fell off. So it had like some wheel weights on it, some weren't. They were unbalanced as shit. And on the dyno, it was like real, here you go. So while I actually had to other work the past 2 days. So while I was doing that, Adam actually went and got his wheels sort of sorted out and balanced. So they're going on at the moment. I've got today another bloke coming out that I'm meant to be doing a bit of work on a Niz tune for, trying to tune his Niz tune, which will be my first hit at Niz tune. So that'll be a bit interesting. I don't know how much I'll film of that, but be interesting to have a look at Niz tune, see what it's all about, see if it's something we want to get into, or see if it's something that we tell people with Niz tune to just go away. But we'll find out today. But anyway, while I'm waiting for him, I want to get this thing back on the dyno. I would like to just finish off the fuel map at the boost we actually want to run. So we've sort of done the fuel map. I'm pretty happy with it up to about 17 PSI. Adam also wants to turn up the limiter now. So we had limited it at 6.7 because that's where Adam wanted to stop. He's decided he actually was being a little bit of a bitch. And he now wants to turn it up to 7.2 so that we do see that 7,000 RPM on limiter. So he's pretty happy now to turn it at 7. So we'll turn up the limiter and just pretty much try and finish up the fuel table. Just on, we'll put the boost T back in and pump it up to about 20 pound, which is what Adam is sort of looking to run, just to finish off the map. So the map's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it considering it's the first sort of proper 3D map that I've had to do from scratch. We had no injector data for these injectors, so I've had to leave it in traditional fuel mode and just pretty much do the map from scratch. I had not really anything to go off, so pretty happy with it, honestly. But yeah, just a little bit more work on that while I wait for this other bloke to get here with the Niz tune. And then Adam's brought out his new front main seal and his new crank bolt. So once old mate gets here, we'll put the Cressida over on the hoist. Adam can go on with doing a seal and stuff while I sort out old mate's Niz tune. At the moment, we got another customer car here. This is a bit of a returning car for us. We've been doing work on this car for a number of years now. When we put it down, I'll show you what's under the bonnet because it is pretty damn cool. But yeah, this is a... God, it's difficult working with Adam around. But yeah, so this thing's pretty off-tap 1J. Hilux Extra Cab SR5 Surf, whatever you want to call it, with the solid front end. That we've done quite a bit of work on over the years. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyway, at the moment he's blown up a gearbox. So at the moment we're trying to sort out a gearbox for him. We've got a surf box to put back in. Because it was actually the not surf box. They're the same code, but there's a surf box and a non-surf box. Supposedly the surf box is a little bit stronger. So we've got a surf box to go back in and hope that it sort of stays alive. It's not making ridiculous power. So we're going to chuck that in and just see how it goes. But apart from that, we just need to start looking at options for conversions. But that's expensive when you've got four-wheel drive because you've got transfer cases, 2 tail shafts, all that other jazz. So anyway, I'll show you under the bonnet when we put it down later on.
Professional.
So if I can get this fuel map pretty much sorted this morning, as well as sorting out the protection parameters for oil pressure and fuel pressure, because it actually, yeah, I think I explained, it's got a fuel pressure sensor wired into the ECU so that we have a protection for a drop in fuel pressure. So I need to set the parameters for those so that they actually do something. And yeah, get this fuel map sorted up to 20 PSI. That way, all I've got to do once Adam's sorted out his front seal and stuff, so next week after that's finished, all I've got to do is get it back on the dyno and work on the timing map. And yeah, that'll be awesome. Also, don't know if I showed you in the last video, but Adam actually got new plates for this thing. Check it. Oh, got them Japanese plates.
Oh, full epic. Oh my god, is he import that car right?
I wonder what the Japanese writing actually says.
It says JD.
It probably says Adam's a fuckwit. Righto guys, so it's pretty filthy at the moment, but check out the business. So she's fully forged 1J. Pretty hectic.
Yeah, while it was apart, they decided might as well just forge it.
Might as well forge it while it's apart.
forge it while it's apart.
So anyway, we didn't build like the motor or do any of the fab work. The fab work's actually all really nice. The owner really wanted to stay twins just because it came stock with twins. So obviously it's been converted to like inline twins, not like normal 1J twins where the butts touch. But, so it's like, I'm pretty sure they're 25s. I don't know, I've never actually confirmed what size these turbos or anything are, but it's a pretty sick little thing. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty skits.
It's pretty nice.
So this is Adaptronic ECU. So once we've done the gearbox, we've got to just sort of check the tune and finish it off, because it did go to a tune elsewhere years ago when it was first sort of finished, but it wasn't running properly there, and it was a long way away.
Ran out of fuel pump.
Yeah, it ran out of fuel pump. Yeah, okay. So it ran out of fuel pump while it was there, and that tuner was like a long way away from here. So the owner had to sort of bring it back and sort out the issues, and by the time he'd sorted it out, he didn't really want to take it all the way back to where it was tuned because it's a long way away. So now that we've got the dyno here, we'll check the tune on it and just try and finish it off for him once the gearbox is in there and it's running again. So this belongs to the same guy that bought the white 31 off us. So he's got a fair few pretty cool cars. So it was cool to see him buy the 31. That 31 actually still gets around here. I see it on the street quite a bit, which is awesome. So he's a good mate of ours. He's got a lot of cool cars. This is one of those very cool cars. So the other thing is the exhaust on this thing. Like at idle, it just sounds like a 22R part in a way. It really sounds very unsuspecting at idle. It's a very unsuspecting looking car.
Then you get
Yeah, but then when you get into it, you definitely hear that 1J rasp. It's pretty cool. Anyway, I like it. I reckon it's a cool thing. I'd love to take it up the beach. I don't think it's had it at the beach yet. So.
Why must you dribble out ass?
I need to shit out my ass.
Righto guys, so I've now put 2 degrees back into the whole map. Adam's just watching the wheels. Adam's getting a bit concerned that they're getting worse and wobblier. So they're actually no better than they were the other day, which is a pain. So Adam's decided to try and change it so that they're not towing out as much. He reckons that's probably why they're having so much vibration. So at the moment we're just letting Adam do that before we continue to go on with the tune.
So the next run's back to 0, is it?
Yeah, back to what it was from factory.
Yeah.
Or factory 2J timing. So I've now put a degree of timing in each run. We are making less power than we were the other day on all runs, relatively. We are pretty sure that that is just going to be because of the tyres that Adam's put on. It's the only thing that's really changed in the setup is it's got different tyres on it now, so we're pretty sure that that's going to be why it lost power. Apart from that, all done in Shoot 6F. The dyno dynamics weather station is supposed to account for temperatures and everything else. So there's nothing else that's really changed, except for it's probably a bit hotter ambient temps today, but again, the weather station should account for that. And yeah, we're in 6F for all the time, so it doesn't make a lot of sense, except for the fact that the tyres have robbed him a little bit of power. But we are getting up there, so we were up to nearly 21 PSI with the boost T. But obviously adding timing, it brings your EGTs down. So we're dropping boost as we add timing. So we're back down to about 19 PSI again with the timing we've added. So I'm just going to keep adding timing. I've set the knock parameters, so I'm logging all the runs now, keep an eye on all the knock, keep an eye on all the noise levels, and just adding timing. And same thing as all tuning is, we'll continue to add timing as long as it keeps yielding power increases. Once your power increases start to get smaller and smaller, that's when we sort of just stop bothering to add timing. As far as the power curve falling over here, we can get that back up by adding a fair bit more timing at the top end of the map there. Throwing a bit in there shouldn't affect it too much as far as knock goes, and you just pick up that extra bit of power at high RPM. So still looking at, I reckon, by the time we sort our timing back out, and then creep it back up to 20, 21 PSI. I still reckon we'll go 380 all day. If it still had the other tyres on it, I reckon it'd be 400 all day, but we'll just see what happens for the rest of the day. The bloke that was meant to be bringing out the Niz tune that I was meant to do, he's going to be late, so it's giving us a bit more time to work on this. And it's looking like it probably will be sort of finished today, so that will be very good. So it's been a pretty long process, this tune, but that being said, I'm pretty sure, like I said at the start of this video, I had no injector data, so I've had to leave it in traditional mode and pretty much completely map it out myself, which I'm pretty proud of how it's actually come out. I'm pretty stoked with it. But if we actually had proper injector data, you can put it in, you can actually sort of put all the data in and actually get the VE map to spit out something that's moderately close, so you don't have to completely start again from the VE map and just sort of tweak it up. But anyway, that is just what it is, but it's been fun. I'm having a lot of fun, and the tune's pretty good. It sounds good. Everything's coming along really mint. It's really great. Righto, so Adam sort of tried to sort out his alignment a bit, stop it from pulling out. We've had it on and off the dyno a few times now, just measuring off the sides of the dyno to make sure the wheels are sitting moderately straight. He's decided while he's at it, while he's tightening up the rear arms, he's going to swap the front tyres with the back ones. So the front tyres are the same tyres we had on it the other day. So this will be a good test to see whether it's actually those tyres that lost him that sort of horsepower. Might just be getting a little bit of slip on the rollers. They are those Winron R330s, which are the tyres that I was running on the 31. So if it does pick up power, it'll be interesting because it'll mean that my 31 would have picked up power with different tyres on it as well. But it's all interesting. We'll find out, I suppose. You know, if we chuck it back on and it's making an extra sort of 10, 15 horsepower, we know it was those tyres. So it'll be an interesting thing to have noted. We do know that there are tyres that return positive readings. There is a tyre that Dyno Dynamics actually recommend for this dyno. They have a recommendation for a tyre to run, which we do have a set out here on a set of Commodore wheels, because obviously the bloke who we bought this dyno off, he was sort of mostly into his LS and Commodore stuff, so he had a set with the dyno on Commodore wheels for doing high horsepower sort of turboed LS stuff. I do want to get a set put on a set of 5x114s to have for Fords and Jap cars, so that we have a pair of them, but I didn't expect, honestly, even knowing that fact, I didn't expect that the tyres could make that much difference, especially at this sort of power level. So we're only talking sort of 350 to 400, and if they're making a difference of 10%, that's pretty wild. So anyway, this will tell us a story. Adam's just changing those over. Hopefully we can get it back on the dyno and do a few more runs before old mate gets here with his Niz-tuned car, just to try and get it sort of semi-finished off. Honestly, as long as we get the timing to the point where it's making power and it's safe, I'm happy to leave it like that, and I'm pretty sure Adam would be happy to leave it like that for a while. Turn the boost back up to 20, and then, you know, one day in future, later on, after Adam's spent some time in the car and whatnot, maybe you can come back and I can actually work on the timing map a bit more. But at this stage, I'm not super worried, just as long as it's making good power and it's safe. That's all awesome. Alrighty, so just got a message from old mate with the Niz tune. He's not going to come out today. Pretty much, by the time he gets out here, we're not going to have enough time today to get the tune done. We'll probably only get sort of a little bit of the way through it. So I told him, like, I don't really mind. He can just take it and bring it back another day. But he sort of just decided he'd rather just bring it out at a decent hour on a day when we can actually just go through and get it done. So, so that's canned now. So it means we can actually finish this Cressida today, which is awesome. I don't really mind either way. So Adam's swapped the fronts and backs, fixed his toe, tightened up his arms. He also took out the spaces from the back just in case they were having an effect on the balancing or you know, what the hell was going on. Because they're hub-centric to the wheels, but the actual inner diameter of the spacer is not hub-centric to the Toyota hubs. They're actually made for Nissan hubs. So obviously they must be slightly different sizes. So anyway, it's pretty much ready to go back on the dyno with these tyres that were on it, the same tyres that were on it the other day. And so for this purpose of seeing what's going on, I'll pull one more degree back out of that timing map so that it's the same amount of timing as this run was, and we'll do 2 runs and just see what it's doing for power. And that'll give us a really good idea of whether these tyres are making that much difference or not. Righto guys, so interesting findings. It's way happier on the dyno with those wheels on it, and we did pick up 10 horsepower. And that's first run, first hit, moderately cooled down after how long it took to actually change the wheels and stuff over, and it's still making 10 more horsepower.
And you can see the curve difference too.
Yeah, it's very different. So the difference is that I put it in steady state first, and we recalibrated the speedo this morning because loaded up, under full load at 100 k's this morning, I noticed it was sitting at about 4,200 RPM. And I just checked it then with the new wheels on it, and it's sitting at 3,900 RPM, fully loaded up at 100 k's an hour. So that's how much slip we were getting with the wind runs on the back on the dyno before. It was actually reading 300 more RPM at 100 k's an hour loaded up. That's how much more they were slipping as the dyno was limiting it to 100 k's. So we've reset the tacho now. It's back where it should be. So now we'll get back into what we were doing and keep going with our timing and doing everything we've got to do. So this is still with, so at the moment I've got still just the stock 2J Mark IV Supra timing map in the link. You can actually get it. It comes with the link software. It's just the base map for the stock 2J Supra. So I've got that in there at the moment. And at the moment we're still 1 degree pulled out everywhere. So the next one's going to be at stock 2J timing. And I'm just going to keep on increasing again, like I was saying. As long as it keeps yielding power, I'll keep on increasing timing. And then after that, we'll start focusing on putting some timing sort of more down low and towards the end of the map and keeping it out of that peak torque area. But we're sort of back to where it should be and where it was sort of the other day. So.
Remember too that was the first run since we.
Yeah, I said that before as well. Yeah. Woohoo! Look at us go. We made our 400. We've got our number. I'm gonna let it cool down and try and get one again where I don't miss the freaking button at the end, so that we have a nice, sort of printout.
You get a good run and you miss the button.
But anyway, you can see like AFRs are around that sort of 11.8 area. They sort of get a bit rich in here, but it's a bit on and off there. Like we've discussed a few times in this video, we're still not 100% sure what these injectors are. We have no data for them. They're meant to be Denso 650 side feed. Adam got them off eBay. I checked Denso's website. There is no listing for a Denso 650 side feed, so
I fucked up.
who knows? But
Silly goose.
I don't think we'll get it any better than that. So we've that's currently got an extra 2 degrees of timing in it. It's good. We're starting to get a little bit extra, like more noise levels, but it's safe. That last degree of timing we added, we only gained 4 horsepower, so we're pretty happy to just leave it at that. We don't really care about going pushing for those last few horsepower. Adam's pretty happy just to make 400.
100%. That's great.
And it's safe as, so can't ask for much more. So I'm just waiting for it to cool down. We'll get one more good power run where I don't miss the button, so we've got a good printout, and that's pretty much it. I added a fair bit of fuel in the vacuum area and added a heap of timing, and it stops that real sort of crackly.
It won't rub out.
And it stops that really sort of crackle pop, burgle tune that some BMW drivers like, but we didn't want, so.
Lucky we don't know any BMW drivers.
So anyway, that's awesome. Pretty happy with it. This car's going to be pretty much sorted in a minute. Done a fair bit of cruising in steady state just to simulate all the areas of the map. The actual map is looking pretty good. I'll give you a look at that after this. But yeah, no, pretty stoked, pretty happy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Metlads.
Tuned by Max. Max is 400 horsepower.
What the fuck? Oh, fuck me, right? Trigger me timbers. I'm fucking real.
I love doing that.
So unappreciated around here.
Righto guys, I did try and film that last power run, but my GoPro's being a dog. But anyway, it's we ended up 401, made another plus 400 on that good power run where I didn't miss the button, so I got a good sort of sheet there. You can see it's with ramping up harder to get that number. We're finding with the sort of the boost increase that's a lot quicker, it's getting this dip in power. I'm pretty certain that is just the wastegate opening and then maintaining. It's not showing it on the actual manifold pressure gauge, but that being said, the wastegate reference is taken from a different point in the car. Wastegate reference is taken just after the compressor housing right there and that. So it'd be interesting if you had like a pressure drop, gauges to measure your pressure drop, whether this side you'd have a fair bit more pressure and a bitted pressure drop. So I'd say the actual gate reference is getting a higher pressure reading as it ramps up, and that's just the gate opening, and then obviously once it's leveling itself out, it's maintaining some boost, and that's all that is. Because I've checked the log, the timing, everything was fine there. It didn't pull timing or do anything funny. So anyway, that's all good. We got one happy Adam.
Yeah, made me 400.
Made his 400. He's happy.
Max made my 400.
There
Max
you go.
Yeah.
So considering I had to pretty much fight Adam to let me touch the car, I think he's pleasantly surprised by how it's come along. So. That's only a couple extra degrees over the stock sort of timing map. That's on 98 with hardly any octane booster in. It's a long story. We put a little bit of octane booster in yesterday, the last day's tank, but today Adam just put another 20 litres of 98 in it. So there's not a lot of octane booster in it, and there's still like no noise recording in the logs. It's all safe as. So like I said, we could keep adding timing and chasing those last couple of horsepower, But Adam's happy with this 400. It's about 20.4 psi, the actual ECU's reading. So it's just over 20 pound, 400. Adam's stoked. He's sort of starting to run out of compressor housing there, compressor wheel there. Anyway, he's got an 11 blade 3076 compressor wheel, so it is starting to sort of run out of flow at that point anyway. But his IATs are really high. Again, it's that compressor wheel sort of starting to get to its limit, plus stainless intercooler piping. I think his IATs are getting a bit high. Plus, he's only got a 450 by 300 intercooler, not a 600. So his intake air temps are getting a bit up there. So it's safe there and it's making good power. So
Plus, it's like 30 plus degree day today. Like it's fucking really hot.
yeah. So anyway, that's awesome. A lot of learning curves. I'll give you a quick look at the map for anyone who cares to look. So that's sort of the fuel table we ended up with. Again, I've not really done a lot of 3D fuel table like modeling. That is pretty much a from scratch fuel table, which is done. We've ended up doing nearly 70 power runs, making sure this was all good. So if anyone's got any feedback in it that actually knows what they're talking about, I'd be stoked to hear from you. Honestly, I'm really keen on feedback because I am sort of new to this. So if you are watching and you do know a lot about what's going on, I'd be interested in feedback. But that's pretty much what we ended up with a lot of work. Again, if we had injected data, it would have been faster. But learned a lot on doing this. Really liking this link software and playing with these ECUs. I did end up this morning, I think I missed it, but I did set up parameters for Adam's oil pressure control and what else was it? Fuel pressure. Fuel pressure control. So I've got protection parameters for both oil pressure and fuel pressure now that will limit RPM if they drop below a certain point.
And at water temp as well, I think.
Yeah, water temp's par for the course with the link. They all have sort of water temp, but those are sort of sensors you actually wire in and set parameters for. So that's all been set up. So the car's got protection for intake air temp, water, oil pressure, water temp, and fuel pressure. It's got protection parameters for all of that, and plus obviously. And knock, obviously. Yeah, that's all been set up too. So, no, it's been a lot of fun. Thanks, Adam, for letting me touch your car.
That's okay. Thanks for tuning in.
It's pretty happy with it. So, pretty stoked.
Makes all the good noises.
It is. It's nice. It's nice and crisp. That exhaust Adam built sounds as good as I thought it did. That's why I really wanted to spend a lot of time in this tune to make sure it was perfect. Because I really like the way 1J sound when they're really nice and crisp. And this complete mild exhaust does, really accentuate how good this car sounds. So well done to Adam for that.
Yeah,
except for that big hole.
Tip. Oh yeah, that
Oh,
hole
the big punch in the.
Yeah, that's a bit annoying. And the stainless tip is now gold.
Yeah, nice and color tipped. So anyway, no, it's been awesome. Learned heaps. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you've enjoyed. And the big turd is finally tuned. One step closer to being on the road, Adam.
Yep, just mod plates, rego,
And paint.
and then paint. Yeah.
So, big turd is getting there. I think it's probably been nearly 2 years now since this car started.
It has not.
Should we start listing off how
One
many
and a half.
cars we've built?
No, we did that the other day.
Yeah, but you're
So now it's been a while, but the car is incredibly nice. It is a really nice car. So he's done very well. But me and Rex, every time we see this car, we both are like, we should have kept this. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Smash like, smash subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out.